All right, welcome back. In our last session, we simply gave an intro to what we'll be looking at during the course of this bootcamp. We'll be covering user interface design and user experience design. Um, in this video, I'm going to give a quick introduction once again to user interface design. Right, for those of you that were not in the last session, which is the onboarding session for this program, please do well to refer to that video on YouTube, or you can also have access to that video on Telegram, right? And ensure that you are part of the Discord community as well. Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube so that when we upload new videos like this, you would get access and notification to such content. All right. So welcome to today's session. All right. So let's get started with what we are going to be covering in this video: user interface. All right. So user interface refers to the point of interaction between the users and a digital product, right? So when we mean digital products, we're referring to websites, we're referring to mobile applications, we're referring to the software solutions that are embedded on your smart TVs, on your smart fridge, on your smart wristwatch. These are software solutions and they are digital products that definitely would need an interface. So the user interface design, which is done by the user interface designer or the product designer or the UI UX designer, is responsible for coming up with the amazing interfaces that you use in your day-to-day operations, in your day-to-day activities. Okay, so this is what users basically see and interact with on their screens. We are going to be looking at some of the components of UI. Right here I have some notes, so you guys can come back to this video if you need references to some of the items mentioned in this video. All right, so speaking about the components of UI, the first item we have here is visual design. When it comes to visual design, we're referring to a couple of things here. We're referring to the color schemes, we're referring to typography, we're referring to layouts, we're referring to icons. Okay, so just to ensure that I can point at some of these things. So speaking about color schemes right here, when working on user interface design, choosing appropriate colors that reflect the brand and appeal to users is very important, and it makes sense that we understand and learn how to do this the right way. All right, typography basically refers to the process of being able to select fonts and text styles that would enhance readability and the aesthetics of your design. All right, so speaking to layouts in UI design, under the visual design category, being able to structure your content in such a way that is logically and visually appealing to users is actually very important. When you use different applications, you get to see different forms of layout. So take, for example, I'm currently sharing some web app designs on mobin.com. Mobin.com is a place where you can actually get amazing design references from. Right now we are looking at some sample websites such as Polywork, clickup.com, and yeah, we can see Webflow. We can also see Descript. Looking at the landing pages that we can see on this screen, you see we have different layouts, we have different font types, colors that match the branding of this company, as well as match the type of energy that they want the users to feel when they look at these websites. Okay, let's take, for example, we also have some mobile screens here. So speaking about layout, you see the structure of this page on the mobile would definitely differ from what is what is designed for the web or your tablet devices, right? So it makes absolute sense that we get to understand how to structure our contents, our designs, the position of the objects, the logo, the input fields and the buttons. It makes perfect sense that we know how to position these components based on the type of device that is being targeted, right? So we'll get back to this. We'll get to look at a lot of examples during the course of the program. We'll get to learn a lot around layout design, typography, color schemes, and under the visual design category we also have icons and graphics. Okay, using visual elements to aid navigation, and the comprehension of what is being designed is a great one. It's something that UI designers should pay a lot of attention to. Icons can be a very good way to point users at performing the right action that you want them to perform on that page, right? Yes, you can have impressive CTAs with amazing colors, but icons do a great job. Icons, images, and even 3D graphics do a great job at ensuring that the users understand what they are expected to do, given the prompts by the designer on that page. All right, so still under the components of user interface, we have interactive elements. This refers to buttons, menus, forms, sliders, toggles, and even tabs. All right, so design and placement of buttons for actions like submitting forms, navigating pages is very crucial to structuring your user interface. When a user visits your website, they need to understand the next set of actions that you have laid down for them to perform, and most of these actions would come in form of buttons. The colors you apply on these buttons, the way you position these buttons, the size, the font. I mean, it's important that we know how to design buttons right, depending on the context, depending on the action, depending on the expectation of the platform to the user, or depending on the expectation of the user to the platform. All right, so these things should be understood. We would learn about the psychology of these things when we get to discuss UX in a later video or in a later session. All right, speaking about menus, understanding how to structure navigation menus to help users find information quickly is actually very important. So as UI designers, this is something we need to really understand when it comes to aiding better interactivity between the users and the platform. All right, so let's talk about forms. Okay, so right now you understand how to create buttons, you know how to probably work with input fields, but then you need to also learn how to put this together in the right way. How many input fields on a form becomes too much, right? How many input fields should we have on a form? How many buttons, and what is the best way to position these things to make great UI for the users of that application. All right, so knowing how to create and use input fields, knowing how to work with checkboxes, radio buttons, we're going to see some examples of these things very soon. I'll be sharing that in the next video, right? This type of components are basically used for data entry. We'll also learn how to design forms when we start covering the usage of Figma, which is a design tool, the primary design tool we're going to be exploring during the course of this bootcamp. Okay, so we're going to learn how to work with sliders, right? These are the components and the UI tokens that makes up amazing interactive elements, right? Sliders, toggles, and tabs, basically for adjusting settings or for selecting options and organizing content on our page. Now, speaking of responsiveness, most of you might get confused when you hear this term for the first time. Okay, what does it mean for a design, a user interface, to be responsive? All right, guys, so speaking of responsiveness, take for example, you open up jumia.com on your home computer or your personal computer. What you see on that website looks quite different from what you get to see when you open up that website on your mobile device or your tablet, right? Responsiveness basically speaks to adaptive web design, the ability to make your website or your web pages adapt to different screen sizes. So this is to say that if you open a website like jumia.com on your laptop, you get to see a different interface. But if you open it up on your mobile, you get to see an interface that also contains the same set of components or the same set of information, but then structured in a different way to fit into that screen size. Okay, so we also call this adaptive web design, which I mean a lot of people know this as responsiveness, especially to those in the web development space. All right, so it also makes a lot of sense that we understand how to apply and appreciate feedback mechanisms. So for example, working with animations, applying transitions, implementing visual cues that helps the users know when an action has been taken, right? Such as when they press the button, or implementing loading spinners to tell the users that something is loading, or probably giving or showing a bunch of animations that describes when an action is successful or even when an action fails, right? So it makes sense to learn how to work with these transitions and animations, right? I mean, they basically bring about giving the users the type of feedback that they would understand, and they would also know how to proceed to the next step when they receive such feedbacks, right? Working with alerts, working with notifications, basically learning to inform the users if there's an error, if it's successful, if you're trying to warn them of a particular step that they probably missed on the form, or if you're trying to also show them other important information or ideas, right? So these are a couple of things that we've put together to make you understand what makes user interfaces, right? These are components of user interfaces. In the next video, we'll be explaining user experience design, and would walk you through some of the components and principles. Of course, we can't cover everything in a single video, but we hope to make you understand the fundamentals. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so that by the time we share the next video, you will get a notification. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful time. Bye.